Imagine this. Every time I travel through time, no matter how far back I go, I always find them, standing silent, unmoved. The Great Pyramids, monuments that mock the passing of time itself. I've seen civilizations rise and fall, stars shift their places, rivers carve new paths. But these never changed. It's as if the earth herself guards their secret. I had to know who built them and when. And more importantly, why. I went as far back as my chrono engine would allow. 10,000 years, 20,000 years before now. And still, the pyramids were there. My system began to collapse, time layers folded in on each other. I couldn't go further. But the readings, they said something impossible. Geological patterns, wind erosion, and magnetic data, all older than 30,000 years. This wasn't just architecture. This was Earth's memory carved in stone. A monument older than history itself. The Nile once flowed closer to the pyramids, touching their very base. The land was chosen with precision that today's satellites barely comprehend. The plateau was perfectly flat, cut and leveled with tools that should not have existed. Over 2 million limestone blocks, some weighing more than 70 tons, aligned with sub-millimeter accuracy. How could primitive tools achieve this? Maybe they weren't so primitive. Maybe the builders knew something about the world beneath our feet. They built not just with stone, but with geometry, energy, and intent. The ground itself became part of their design. I stood at the pyramid's shadow during sunset. The stars began to appear, familiar yet older. The belt of Orion lined up perfectly with the 3 pyramids, a celestial mirror carved into Earth. Even the shafts inside the Great Pyramid point to specific constellations. This wasn't coincidence, it was synchronization. The builders encoded the heavens in stone. They understood precession, the slow dance of the stars across time. Knowledge that modern astronomy only rediscovered thousands of years later. How could they know unless they measured eternity itself? Inside a sealed chamber, I found something unexpected. A fragment of papyrus, preserved beyond belief. It wasn't a tomb, it was a message. The handwriting belonged to a master architect. He wrote not to future kings, but to the future itself. His words said, "We built not for the dead, but for those who would question the living stone." And at the end, a challenge. You may try to build one like it, but first try to destroy it. It wasn't arrogance, it was a riddle. The pyramid isn't dead stone, it resonates. Every chamber, every angle, every corridor hums with frequency. It channels the Earth's magnetic fields. Some call it energy, some harmony. I call it intelligence. A mind built into matter. When sound waves echo inside the king's chamber, they don't fade, they build up. Like the structure itself is remembering the sound. The pyramid listens and responds. It's not just built on physics, it is physics. Empires fell, floods came, sand buried and uncovered them. Yet they stand. Their geometry resists chaos. Each block locks the next in eternal balance. Even earthquakes dissipate through their form. The pyramid doesn't fight time, it flows with it. A machine not for death, but for endurance. A lesson in equilibrium between heaven and earth, between human and cosmos, between matter and idea. I come from a world of machines that think. We build cities in the air and decode atoms for energy. But standing before this, I feel small, because no equation explains its endurance. No code defines its perfection. The ancients built with intuition we can't replicate. They saw nature not as a tool, but as a teacher. Even on my planet, we never mastered that. The Great Pyramid is beyond technology. It's wisdom frozen in stone. I've traveled across time, space, and stars, but I still don't know how they did it. Maybe I was never meant to, because the pyramid isn't asking to be understood. It's asking to be remembered. Maybe it's not a tomb of kings, but a monument to knowledge. A message from humanity to eternity. We were here, we understood the stars. And maybe, just maybe, we still have much to learn from the past. The question now is, will we listen? So tell me, travelers of the present, when you look at the pyramids, do you see stones, or do you see memory? Do you think they were built to house the dead, or to remind the living what greatness looks like? If you've ever stood in front of them, tell me what you felt. Because maybe, just maybe, the real mystery of the pyramids isn't how they were built, but why we still can't forget them. Every block tells a story, and the story is engineering. 2 million stones, each weighing tons, moved without modern machines. I'm Mega Alpha Tek, and I came to see how this was possible. The desert sun beats down, yet these stones shine with perfect alignment. The workers, thousands of them, follow rhythms we still don't fully understand. Ropes, levers, and ramps, tools, yes, but guided by genius. Every angle, every line, calculated for stability and resonance. Even the smallest error could collapse centuries of effort. And yet nothing did. The Great Pyramid rises, a monument of organized perfection. The pyramid wasn't built by slaves, but by skilled laborers. Artisans, masons, architects, astronomers, all working in coordinated shifts. They lived in nearby temporary cities with food, tools, and medical care. Workers rotated every few months to avoid exhaustion. Teams specialized in cutting, transporting, or placing stones. Large ramps were built from mud brick and limestone chippings. Stones slid up on sledges, lubricated with water. Lever systems allowed fine adjustments. Even small stones used for internal chambers were aligned to sub-millimeter accuracy. The efficiency was unmatched in human history. Limestone for the core, granite for the chambers. Granite blocks transported 800 km from Aswan along the Nile. Water transport reduced friction and eased hauling. Wooden sledges, ropes, and manpower moved tons of stone daily. Inclined ramps of varying designs, straight, zigzag, spiral, lifted the blocks progressively. Simple machines multiplied human strength in unprecedented ways. Levers allowed precise placement of each massive stone. Counterweights may have been used to balance loads. Builders measured angles with plumb bobs, squares, and sighting rods. every chamber aligned to stars, showing astronomical planning intertwined with construction. The base of the Great Pyramid is almost perfectly level. Surveyors measured differences of mere centimeters across 230 meters per side. Corners align with cardinal points, north, south, east, west. Internal chambers show precise horizontal and vertical alignment. The king's chamber fits its sarcophagus like a puzzle piece. The grand gallery's slope is exact for load distribution. Geometry reflects advanced knowledge of angles, ratios, and proportions. Some calculations anticipate techniques rediscovered only in modern times. The workforce maintained precision over decades. The result is structural perfection, resilient over millennia. The Nile was the lifeline, transporting massive stones and supplies. Seasonal floods were used strategically for moving heavy loads. Quarries nearby reduced travel for core limestone. Granite and harder stones came from distant sources. Food, water, and housing for thousands of workers were meticulously organized. Skilled craftsmen had workshops for cutting, polishing, and engraving stones. Administrative teams tracked progress, labor, and resource allocation. Records on papyri ensured coordination across decades. Rations, medicine, and shelter kept the workforce effective. This logistical feat was as impressive as the pyramid itself. Builders aligned the pyramid with stars and the sun. The corners mark cardinal directions with precision. Shafts point to Sirius and Orion's belt. The design harmonizes with seasonal solar events. Energy from the ground and surrounding environment may have been utilized. Foundations avoid fault lines, ensuring stability. Builders respected the plateau's natural composition. Geological surveys were likely conducted by observing soil and rock. Even the pyramid's orientation minimizes wind erosion. Architecture blends with both cosmos and Earth. Even with my advanced tech, I can't fully replicate this. Every method is ingenious yet simple. A civilization without engines, yet achieving what seems impossible. They calculated weight, leverage, and timing intuitively. Human labor, nature, and cosmic observation intertwined. I study physics across galaxies, yet the pyramid challenges my mind. Perhaps the greatest tool was foresight. Planning for centuries ahead, not years. This is not just engineering, it's philosophy in stone. And I wonder, could we ever reach such mastery again? The Great Pyramid is more than stones and labor. It is strategy, mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy, all built to last for eternity. If you could rebuild it today, would you? Did this journey into ancient engineering amaze you? Imagine a world where humans achieved the impossible without modern machines. Comment below which part of the pyramid construction fascinated you most. Subscribe and join me, Mega Alpha Tek, as we continue unraveling history's greatest mysteries. Share this video with anyone who loves history, science, and the unknown.